This is lesson 3. We've imported the CAD file, we put it on its own layer. Sometimes it's a good idea to lock that layer in the event you somehow double click it and release that geometry into your model, and that can make trouble. First thing I'm going to do is go around. Let's talk about walls a little bit. We'll go around the perimeter of this model and try to understand it a bit. There's a set of walls that enclose the model. They have apparently a thickness of 8 inches. There are insertions in these walls. There are windows and doors, and they're represented by these symbols. There is apparently, as part of this drawing, rather poorly represented in drawing, this pipe chase, or a vertical enclosure that's covering plumbing pipes, and that occurs here as well and there. This is actually an engaged column somehow, so there are columns here that are 1.5 feet in diameter, and one of them is buried or embedded in the wall here. So we'll talk about how we're going to model that afterwards. But first thing I want to do is model the walls. So I want to create a perimeter around the entire model. So what I'm drawing are lines that completely enclose or outline the perimeter of this model. And when you close the shape, it creates a face, and that's the result. So if I go to a 3D view, this isometric view, I've created this face in the model. And if I turn off the visibility of the AutoCAD layer, you can see it more clearly. Now, we said the thickness of that wall is 8 inches. The easiest way to create that encircling wall is to offset this shape. So we turn on and off. The AutoCAD layer allows us to inspect that shape for its integrity, right? We can see that that's a complete shape, and it lines up perfectly with the CAD underlay. So you can select that face, click offset, the offset tool, and as you start to drag, you can type in a number. Look at the control box on the bottom right. I've typed in 8, enter. What that does, SketchUp understands numbers to be inches. What that does is create a perimeter offset inwards 8 inches, and because that's a complete shape, it creates a face as well. So I selected that face and deleted it. So now this shape becomes an 8-inch thick wall encircling the entire model. And if I were to extrude it, you could see I could assign it some height. Before I do that, let's measure Let's go back to plan and look at it and talk about the strategy of exactly what we're going to do with this. This building is going to sit on the ground, and I'm going to say that the ground is at the base, the bottommost part of this model. They've created these outdoor landings that are slightly above what's apparent grade there. I would not have modeled them that way, but anyway. Let's type in, let's measure, we'll create, just take a dimension. And measure vertically. So it's 22 feet to the top of the model. But that includes a thickness, the thickness of what is representing the roof there, so 1 foot. So we want these walls to be 21 feet in height. I could also, my colleague Crossy often takes the same AutoCAD file and places it in the model perpendicular to or aligns it with the vertical axis, so you can draw against it. I'm not going to do that in this lesson, but maybe we'll save that for a different lesson. I do that in a more complex model that I use. So in order to illustrate what I'm doing, I'm going to switch to isometric mode. View. Select the face that was created by offsetting the perimeter of the model, and now I'm going to push it vertically 21 feet. You need to type that explicitly. Look at the control box in the bottom right. 21 feet. Enter. These next steps are really, really important. Triple click to select all of this. Make it a group. And now we need to create a layer. And I'm going to call this layer Walls Exterior. And I'm taking this group that is still selected and pushing it to that layer. So I can now control visibility settings for my AutoCAD underlay or my walls separately. There's some measurements that are ungrouped that are sitting out there. We'll probably remove them later. So congratulations, we've created our first group of architectural elements, namely the exterior walls for this model.